Hello there, men, and welcome to the Masculinism Movement channel, a place for men to be men and to talk about masculinity and men's issues. I'm your host, Brian Krall, and today's topic is social conditioning and cultural programming, aka the male slave plantation. Now, you may not be familiar with these terms, but there are other terms that it goes by, such as culture, tradition, religion, way of life, convention, custom, popularity, system, society, or social narrative. For instance, don't go against the system. Don't stand up for yourself. Don't speak up. Don't act out. You must conform and obey, or else you are not a real man and will be publicly shamed and humiliated. The social narratives we are programmed and conditioned with as men are things like a real man does this, insert whatever it is that you want the man to do here, thus linking his identity with obedience. And generally, the man will then think, oh, well, I better do that, then I can, be the real man I'm supposed to be, right? A man never hits a girl, no matter what, even if she is attacking him. A man should always stop to help a woman in need, and even sacrifice himself for her if need be. A man should be a gentleman and treat women with respect automatically, but not expect it to be given to him without him earning it by acting like a gentleman all the time, even when the woman is not acting ladylike. A man should always pay for the dates he takes women on, even if she makes more money than him due to affirmative action, allowing her to get the first pick for employment. And when the date is over, a gentleman doesn't expect anything in return for it. He was just being chivalrous. When a man wants to be sexual with a woman, he should do so by being romantic. It's the only classy, gentlemanly way. If he does otherwise, he's being a player and womanizer and deserves no sex, unless, of course, he is one of the top, most attractive men out there. Women, however, deserve to be sexually empowered and do whatever they wish sexually. A man should always make the first move and ask a woman's consent before doing anything sexual with her to avoid being accused of sexual assault. A woman, however, can do whatever she wants to a man sexually without him having to give consent. And if he doesn't like it, well, it's because he's a fag, and she is right to sexually shame him for it. Men can't be sexually assaulted by women. It doesn't work that way. A woman is always right, and a man is always wrong. Believe all women, even if they are lying. Women cannot commit domestic violence or any crimes against men. The man is always the culprit in any domestic dispute or any kind of argument or fight with a woman. Go to school, get in debt, get a job and a car to get you to it. Find a nice girl to settle down with. If you get her pregnant, do the right thing and marry her. Buy a house for her and your future family. Get into even more debt. Work overtime, get promoted to pay off your debt so that you can save up for your children to go to school. Let your wife use your money to consume goods and services while you are at work, and put her through school and support any of her dreams that she has, even if she hasn't been supportive of yours and is only using you for your money. And when she divorces you, man up and give her the house, car, and half your money and other assets until she remarries, and the kids as well, of course, if you have any. And don't complain about it, all right? Or the fact that you will only see your kids every other weekend and she'll soon have some other man that they call dad. A man isn't supposed to complain. He's supposed to man up. And then the last line of social narrative that I want to give is something I can't even keep a straight face while saying. Happy wife, happy life. Oh man, that one is just so bad. Men don't get to be happy. They exist only to serve women, and only when the woman is happy is he allowed to be happy. Oh my God. Social conditioning is so pervasive that you may not even realize how deep and dark its effects are. For instance, what does it feel like to be rejected? To have a girl break up with you? To have your friends turn against you and be outcast from your social group? To be publicly humiliated and shamed? Can you remember times these things have happened to you and what it felt like? Because these feelings all have something in common. They are the feeling we get when we are being rejected, and hurtfully so, by people who we believe are supposed to accept us instead of ostracize us. This feeling of social dejection is wired to have even physical pain that goes along with it at times. Things like public humiliation are actually so bad that the brain wires it in as trauma. And people rate some of these experiences as being their greatest fears, sometimes even worse than death. Why is this? Because we are wired to experience large-scale social rejection as an actual death sentence. See, this is because in small clans and tribes that we evolved in, it was actually a death sentence. Getting kicked out of your tribe meant you probably weren't going to survive. Life back then was so hard that it was very difficult to survive even in a tribe, right? People needed to be in tribes. They needed to form these communities for survival. And if you got kicked out, that was like an actual death sentence. So we became hardwired for conformity out of the fear of being outcast. So you may think of yourself as a very independent and original person, a go-getter who's not even afraid to ruffle some feathers, but wired in deep within our brains. There are emotions programmed into us that prevent us from being too rebellious for our own good. Like too rebellious to get into trouble, for instance, or too rebellious to get actually kicked out of your group, right? Have your friends not want to hang out with you anymore, or be alienated by family members, all right? There is this wiring that causes us to listen to certain social narratives, to find a culture or counterculture or organization or group to belong to, and to try to fit in to at least some degree. And when people who we want to accept us reject us harshly, or we are publicly embarrassed or shamed in some way, it feels extremely dark, depressing, traumatizing, even dangerous, all right? I mean, this is next to death in the level of psychological torture that many people experience. It's a suffering that is mental, but it also is physical too, like I said. So if you think that social conditioning doesn't affect you to any degree, that's just a sign that it not only affects you, but that your counterculture has brainwashed you into being so deeply affected by it that you believe it to be true and not social conditioning at all. You might think that your culture empowers you, that your social conditioning has given you, social values, that your belief in makes special or has some sort of significance for you. I've heard so many excuses from brainwashed people like religious zealots or liberals, feminists. The more you believe in institutions, such as love or marriage even, the worse off you are when they fail you. When someone you love rejects you, when an organization you subscribed to is shown to have been exploiting you, where will you be when your cultural programs go bankrupt and everything you thought was true is shown to be a lie? You will feel as though reality is imploding and you'll want to kill yourself, but don't. You are only just waking up. You see, you've been living in the matrix and have just taken the red pill. And while it may be depressing to realize that what you thought was real isn't, once you get past that, you'll be much better off than before. Are you sure to take your daily dose of red pills consistently so that you can stay out of the matrix? The red pill is a medicine that only works if you take it in the right dosage and never miss a dose. One missed dose of red pills can mean turning back into a blue-pilled limp dick simp under the sharp heel of the evil feminist matriarchy. So make sure you are subscribed and that your subscription is set to all so that you never have to miss one of your daily doses of the red pill, because I'm releasing hot new red pill content every single fucking day just to make sure you don't have to. So make sure you will actually get notified when they are released, because you know that YouTube doesn't want to show you things that don't align with its liberal leftist feminazi agenda, and it shadow bans content creators like me who use free speech to speak out against these politics and stand up for the rights of the oppressed masses of men like you and me. And if you want to help me keep fighting the good fight, please donate using the PayPal link below so that I can keep this work alive, because I simply cannot do it without the support of viewers like you. And be sure to spread these messages and share these videos with any other men you know who could use a nice big dose of red pills. The thing about social conditioning and cultural programming is that they are never for the good of the individual. They are for the good of the civilization. They are like the glue that keep everyone together, making them a society or community. This is why things such as political and religious institutions and all the social organizations and programs of our culture exist, to keep us all together, consuming goods and services and funding the system. But if these things were not so much better for the government and culture at large than they were for the individual, they wouldn't require such deep psychological conditioning for complete conformity, obedience, and control. We wouldn't be made to feel so bad for being rejected and even outcast. But luckily, the more we wake up from the matrix and overcome our bad conditioning as a collective, and the more we dismantle the system, the less power it has over us. When you realize that social and cultural institutions such as marriage and much of your social conditioning and cultural programming is just a sham, that things such as love aren't even real, and that you and your ex-wife weren't soulmates destined to be together, that your culture and church just sold you on the fairy tales it did, such as the fairy tale romance ideal, in order to make money off of you and enslave you, then it doesn't feel like such a loss to turn your back on any of that and leave it behind, does it? Sometimes huge and devastating life events, such as that divorce I mentioned, were simply just the red pill that it took to wake you up and help you to transcend the system. The red pill may not be easy to take and digest, but at least we can take it. We have that option. So wake up. Start noticing ways in which your culture is socially conditioning you so that you can empower yourself to rise above them. Don't wait for some huge, devastating life event like a divorce to open your eyes. One of the easiest and best ways that you can do this is to start questioning yourself and your own thinking. When you think something, especially something that you have thought before, maybe something that has become a personal mantra, ask yourself, why do I think that? Especially when it comes to any beliefs that make up your worldview, be they spiritual, political, social, or about your own self, or whatever it may be. Ask yourself the question, why? If there's something you want, ask yourself why you want that thing. And then when you give the answer to these questions, unless it is a very specific and conclusive answer, which it usually won't be at first, you'll want to ask yourself why again. It will usually take several why questions to get to the bottom of something, but you'll be surprised at what is buried deep underneath everything, because it's mostly social conditioning and cultural programming that causes you to think the way that you do. You'll find that a lot of your own thought processes don't actually even stem from yourself, but are programmed in by social narratives. Once you get to the why, you get to the truth. This is also useful when talking to people who are plugged into the matrix and act like non-player characters, a topic I'm going to be covering 2 videos from now. Just keep asking them to explain themselves by asking why questions. I remember one time meeting a girl online who was a serial monogamist, and I was a polygamist. She was saying she wouldn't want to talk to me if I was talking to other girls before we'd even met in our first conversation. So I just started asking the why questions, starting with why do you want monogamy? Soon she had come to the answer of security, and I kept asking why questions. After several, she circled back to security, showing that that was the root of the thought process, that she felt insecure. So notice what her conviction uncovered. She then realized that she wasn't as interested in monogamy as she had thought. She did loosen up and become polyamorous the next time I spoke with her, which was actually sometime later, and saying that she was now open to the idea of both of us seeing multiple people. Now, this didn't happen as instantly as I'm describing it, okay? This was a long conversation I had with her, and then she had a lot of time between this conversation and the next one. So when you plant the seed inside someone's mind, just like in the movie Inception, it does take time for it to sprout into something else, okay? But notice how getting to why really helps people to unplug from the matrix. They will need to reflect upon it for a while for the full effects to take place, But this shows how important getting to the why is with our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and opinions. And doing this has taught me that most people have never considered why they think and feel and believe what they do. That this is a revelation to them. And that most people are just trapped in social programming, thinking whatever their culture has told them to. And that most people are like non-player characters who are not fully conscious beings, but need some help learning how to be conscious. And that questioning things is probably one of the most important intellectual keys that we have to achieving enlightenment. So, in conclusion, think for yourself, and question authority. In fact, question everything, starting with yourself and your own thoughts and beliefs. Ask yourself why you think and feel the things that you do, and ask others the same things. Get to the why, and all will be revealed. That is the key to unlocking the truth of life.
That concludes this video. Thanks for listening. I hope I mansplained that good enough for you. If you like what you heard, please click the like button. And if you feel you gained some value from this video and would like to give some back, please do so with the PayPal link below, because your support helps fund me doing this work and fight the good fight for men like you. If you are ready to take the red pill and wake up from the matrix and the matriarchy controlling it and learn everything you need to know about female on male sexism, get your copy of my newly released book called Misandry Exposed, on sale now for a special price that won't last long. So check it out by clicking the link below. And otherwise, take care of yourselves, men, because no woman out there is going to.